Welcome everybody to the Storytime channel. My name is Steven, and today we have some malicious compliance stories. Our first story is by scientist Anne, All or Nothing? 2 years ago, I applied for my current rental home and got it. As per the rules from the rental corporation, I met with the previous renter to arrange what elements in the home I'd want to take over and what had to be restored to original. Ground rules are that a renter has to restore a house to the original state upon leaving, unless old and new can come to an agreement. The risk for the new renter in taking things over is that they're responsible for fixing it when they leave. I have to mention, there was a lot changed to the house from the original state. At first, it all seemed fine. She was nice and reasonable. Really, the only thing I was interested in taking over was the wooden floor downstairs. The thing she seemed to not want to do was removing the carpet from the stairs in the bedrooms. So we were going to compromise that I'd take over both. Even though I didn't want the carpet, I'd remove it myself. There were a few other things I didn't mind staying and fixing myself, but the main thing I wasn't willing to budge on was the 2 walls they had removed in a non-constructionally safe way, so she'd had to restore those. We had mostly reached an agreement via text, and we arranged a date/time to finalize some details and sign the agreement. When I got there, she completely changed her tune and told me it was gonna be all or nothing. I was flabbergasted for a second, tried to reason with her and give her some things I'd take responsibility for, but she wouldn't budge. So in the end, I told her it was gonna be nothing. That was clearly not the outcome she was hoping for because she basically kicked me out. She had me take a day off work and made an hour drive just for that. After that, she had about 4 weeks to restore the house. She really screwed herself on that one because I saw how she left it for the corporation and how much money they had to fix to restore the house, which she got the bill for. She was very petty about it, even taking every last stone and plant from the yard. Her malicious compliance, I guess. So in your guys' opinions, do you think that this lady was trying to agree to compromise on some things so that they'd actually show up, and then go all or nothing at the meeting trying to call their bluff that they would just go along with it and sucker themselves into the agreement? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. It definitely sounds like to me they were trying to pull one over. Say some stuff that sounds nice on paper, get them to come over, and then just try and throw everything on them and hope that they break down and just agree to it regardless. Maybe prey on them if they have a situation where they need to get a residence right away. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Our next story is by Throw R.A. Liver. Well, she asked me to shut up. I, 20-year-old female, had a liver transplant and my large intestine removed 2 years ago after 6 years of autoimmune heck. I had an issue with my liver and gut. As you can probably tell, I'd tried every medicine, one of which costs 4.5 thousand British pounds per dose. Thank you, NHS. And nothing was working. Eventually, they realized my liver had to be changed and my gut had to go. It was pretty traumatic for me. Not only was I terrified that if this also didn't work, I had no options, I spent most of my time in a tiny room, was in horrific amounts of pain, my new stomach bag kept bursting, and dealing with the fact that I would have to put off university by about 2 years, hopefully going this October. On top of all this, there was a nurse who hated me. I guess she was used to older patients or saw me as undeserving of my transplant, or maybe she just didn't like the fact that I needed lots of attention due to the fact that I was having issues with my kidney post-transplant. All the other nurses were lovely, by the way, it was just her who had a stick up her butt. One day, when she was looking after me, I was in floods of tears. It had been building for a while. I was stressed, in pain, and unhappy. It was the only time I cried the entire 3 months I was in the hospital. I had been there for a couple of months before the procedure due to my pesky gut. She walked in on me crying. She shut the door, rolled her eyes, and started shouting at me. The conversation went like this. "Why are you crying? You're going to make me feel bad because I can't look after you properly." I said, "It's just stress. It's nothing to do with you." The nurse said, "Oh, then can you stop please before the doctors come in? You'll make me look bad." Me a little shocked, "But it's got nothing to do with you." She was probably stressed when she said this next part, but it still hurt like a witch to hear. Shut up, you're not the only important one. Only make a noise if I allow you. Cue malicious compliance. I stopped talking all the way through until the doctors came. Again, I was highly unstable at this point, so they needed to know how I was feeling. But I wouldn't answer any of their questions. When they asked why, I simply wrote, "Ask nurse" on my phone and showed them. The head doctor went to find her, whilst the others stayed with me, door shut. I heard vague shouting noises from the hallway around 5 minutes later. The doctor brought her in and she accused me of lying, and I repeated word for word what she said earlier. It would have been my word against hers if she hadn't cursed under her breath, so she kinda freaked herself. She apologized, and I got my ward round done, and I think she took some time off or requested to not be my nurse again because I didn't see her again in the rest of the 3-week stay I had left. I personally would hope that time off would have been permanent, aka they got canned. That's no way to treat anybody as a nurse. Caring about how the patient makes you look because they're crying? It's a hospital. Plenty of people are crying. That lady did not deserve to be working as a nurse. That kind of thing is honestly giving the hospital and the experience of having to be in the hospital a bad connotation with whoever had to experience that nurse. That's how you create trauma for people, and you prevent people from wanting to go to the hospital because you think that there might be nurses that treat you like crap, especially during one of the hardest times of your life. I'm glad the doctor was able to see through that. This next story is by Superfle. You want to speak to the supervisor? While in college, I worked as the escalated transfer supervisor at a call center for a large Canadian pizza chain. One New Year's Eve, it was so busy in the call center that the customer service department started taking orders to ease the traffic, myself included. Suddenly, I get connected with Karen. Before I even have a chance to speak, she is already irate and rude. "Why in the heck was I on hold for 30 minutes? I say, "Ma'am, I apologize for the wait, but it's New Year's Eve and everyone in the country is ordering pizza." "That is unacceptable. I demand to speak to a customer service agent." I say, "I can transfer you if you'd like, but I am in the customer service department and can talk to you about your complaint." "Like heck you are. Transfer me to customer service immediately." I say, "Okay, but due to the busy day, you may be on hold for a while." I said now. So I added her to my customer service queue, which was 20 calls deep. After 30 minutes, she is up. "Hi, you've reached company name customer service. My name is OP. How may I help you?" Karen yelling, "I was on hold for 30 minutes waiting. Hold on, wasn't I just speaking to you?" I say, "Yes, ma'am." Karen still yelling, "This is outrageous. I insist on speaking to the manager." I say, "Absolutely, please hold," and add her to my queue once again. Now keep in mind that the escalated transfer supervisor, me, is the final stage of customer service. So when a customer asks for a manager, the ETS was the end of the line. I continue to take orders for another 25 minutes or so, then pick up Karen's call. "Hi there, you've reached OP. I believe you asked to speak to a manager. How can I help?" Karen in a desperate tone, "You're the manager too?" I say, "Yes, ma'am. You see, because it's so busy, I have been taking calls all day to ease the traffic and make things run a little quicker." The Karen says, "Oh my goodness, I've been waiting for over an hour." I say, "I did tell you that I could help when I took your initial call." The Karen said, "You did." "Would you like me to take your order now?" "Yes." It was so satisfying to let all the air out of her like that. I'm just surprised that you kept feeding this Karen who seemed to get more and more irate through and through, and that actually managed to discourage her, that actually brought her back down to earth. Usually, with each manager they have to escalate to, they escalate their bad behavior. Honestly, if anything, I'm surprised they waited probably near or more than an hour just to finally get around to ordering a pizza. I can't imagine any situation where I would sit there for 30 minutes, get transferred and wait another half an hour, and then wait another 20 minutes on top of that or however long. I'd be pretty darn good pretty quickly. Honestly, if I called anywhere and they said there was a 30-minute wait, unless it was something I really needed, I'd probably dip regardless. This next story is by Hugs from Bugs. Need to check if my room is clean before I leave the house? You got it. My mom was sick of me never cleaning my room. After several attempts to get me to change my ways, she told me I needed to have her check my room before I can leave the house. Me being 16 and thinking I was brilliant, knew just what to do. I worked at a local restaurant early Saturday mornings, so I woke up at my normal time, which happened to be at 4:30 a.m. I figured I better let my mom check my room before I left as I had to be there at 5:30 a.m. I woke up, cleaned my room, and at 4:35 a.m. I went into my parents' room. I flipped the light switch on and in a loud sing-songy voice said, "Mom, you have to check my room." My mom dragged herself out of bed, shaking her head with a huge smirk on her face, and went and looked. Needless to say, that was the last day that I had to let her check my room before I left the house. As long as they demonstrate that they've earned the ability to have a little bit of leniency in regards to stuff like this, I think it's a good way to demonstrate your trust. You set a rule, they go ahead and comply to that rule, show you that they can do it and do what needs to be done, and then you reward them by trusting that they have actually got it done. And then crap would hit the fan when they inevitably don't do it one time, and, well, you start back from step one. This next story is by Vegetable Station 83, The Skunk Factor. Mid-2000s, I was a self-taught IT admin for a small local construction company. Everyone was pretty much a type A personality, and you couldn't tell them anything they don't already know. They were also a bunch of cheap butts who looked to squeeze every last cent out of anything, lest we not maximize profit. How I ended up in the position is an example of this, but that's another story. But to attest to their frugality, we served up our own website, email, and project management software on 2 servers, which were actually converted desktops. All network data storage and backups were run off these 2 servers too. This is all on a single DSL line and modem. Don't get me started on our phone system, which also came on the same DSL line. Apart from the constant battles to upgrade equipment, which I was able to slowly improve over time, they normally left me alone as I kept us shuffling along. But I could never get them to budge on the DSL. We were super limited because of it, and it began affecting the guys at our out-of-state projects. After a particularly brutal and demoralizing meeting, where I tried to explain that we just don't have enough bandwidth to support what we're trying to do, the president honed in on me as the source of all their problems. "What the heck do you do all day down in that server room while the rest of us carry your butt?" His solution was to put me on a performance plan where I needed to report to him what I do every hour of the day. They love thick contracts, so he's getting thick reports. I started harvesting every report I could squeeze out of Microsoft. I was CCing him everything from our email and web services to updates and security reports. I included a short summary with explanation of what was happening during each report, kept extensive notes on troubleshooting, error and print logs, spam, you name it. I documented every computer, cell phone, and mouse pad we had, and wrote trouble tickets for anything I put my hands on. He lasted 2 days, but I continued emailing him until he came down and yelled at me for wasting his time with all these stupid reports. He left me alone for more than a year after that, but I never did get us off the darn DSL line. Oh, the mid-2000s and DSL lines. It's definitely a far cry from the fiber optics we have nowadays. Back in the days of DSL, you might have been promised up to 10 megabits a second, and you were probably lucky to get 1. I get 1 gigabit, and although I don't get exactly 1 gigabit, I'm still pretty happy with the speeds I get. It's a far cry from what I was doing in the mid-2000s, that's for sure. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. So if you have a favorite story of the day, let me know which story and why in the comments down below. But besides that, if you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a like, and if you haven't, subscribe and turn notifications on so you'll never miss an upcoming video. No matter what you do, whether it's just viewing the video, liking, subscribing, turning notifications on, I appreciate the heck out of it. Every little thing that you do helps the channel grow that much more, and I can't thank you enough for it. So, until next time, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll be right here next time on the Storytime channel.